You know, it's amazing how much information you can find on the internet. Now, I don't doubt for a moment that you know all the information you'll need to know about your own car. But what about those cars that you recognize but sometimes know little about? Cars like Studebaker, for example. You know, it seemed like every year they were coming out with a new slogan. Slogans like the next look. From the Speedway comes their stamina, from the Skyway comes their style. You're out of date without an 8. And smart to be seen in, smarter to buy. These slogans may seem out of date now. In many respects, though, Studebaker was way ahead of their time in styling. In 1953, Studebaker really upgraded their look with a slimmed-down European design. The 53 Starlight and Commander models look more like concept cars than production vehicles. In the end, Studebaker just couldn't compete with the Big Three. It closed its U.S. operations in '63 and shut down Canadian production in '66. These 53 models are highly collectible today. The 1949 Ford was the first all-new automobile design introduced by the Big Three after World War II. The 49 Ford is credited with ushering in the streamlined design. Except for the drivetrain, this was a completely new car in every way. Convertible models had an X-frame addition added to the frame for extra strength. Also new styling was the 49 Merc. Customizers loved to get their hands on these cars. Only minor changes separated the 49 to the 50 Ford models. But the 51 Ford was spiked up a little with a little extra chrome here and there. 51 Fords featured an optional Ford-O-Matic automatic transmission for the first time. Ford finally answered the Chevrolet Bel Air and Plymouth Belvedere challenge with a hardtop model in '51, taking the name Victoria from the Victoria carriage. In 1955, Ford Motor Company completely redesigned their Ford lineup of cars. They lost their boxy look and took on a more swept-line design. Longer, lower, wider, and now featured that well-known stainless side stripe. Power options were the 223 cubic inch straight-six engine and 272 cubic inch V8. The 292 Y-block was offered as an option. Only a few changes were made to the 56, notably a broader side stripe, changes to the grille, and moderate taillight changes. 56 also ushered in two new, more powerful V8 options, the 292 cubic inch and the 312 cubic inch Thunderbird engine. Beautifully exclusive Canadian options were the Mercury Meteor and stylish Monarch. More design changes were in store for Ford in 1957. This was the year of exaggerated tail fins emulating the jet age era. Engines remained largely the same in 56 and 57 Fords, but the big news for 57 was the Fairlane 500 retractable hardtop. This was produced in 1957, 1958, and 1959. Another big story from Ford in 57 was the introduction of the Ranchero, half car, half pickup. The Ranchero appeared 2 years before the Chevrolet El Camino. The Thunderbird made its first appearance in 1955 in response to GM's Corvette. However, the T-Bird was not billed as a sports car like the Corvette, but a personal luxury car, chasing an entirely new market. Only a few style modifications separated the 55 from the 56. By 56, a 312 engine was available. The two-seater T-Bird model would remain in production until 1957. Succeeding models 1958 through the 80s had front and rear seats, and for the most part became larger in size until the modern era. There's a lot to tell about the 55 Chevy. For 55, Chevrolet received all new styling. The Bel Air was called the Hot One in GM's advertising. It incorporated a Ferrari-inspired grille. Bel Airs came with interior carpet, chrome headliner bands on hardtops, chrome spears on front fenders, stainless steel window moldings, and full wheel covers. For 1955, Chevrolet gained a V8 engine option. and the option of a 2-speed Powerglide automatic transmission or a standard 3-on-the-tree. The new 265 cubic inch V8 featured modern overhead drive, high compression, short stroke design, and that was so good it remained in production in various displacements for many decades. Only a few design changes separated the 56 from the 55 Chevy. Changes like a new wider grille and a gas filler behind the driver's side taillight. Big styling changes for the 57 Chevy with exaggerated tail fins, broad aluminum side trim, and a new, more powerful 283 cubic inch engine. The 57 Chevys are among the most sought after by collectors, especially convertible models. The Chevy Nomad station wagon as we know it was produced from 1955 to 1957, although the Nomad name carried on until '61. Prior to becoming a regular production model, the Nomad first appeared as a Corvette-based concept vehicle in 1954. Getting back to tail fins for a moment, they first started showing up on 1949 Cadillac models. They got a bit larger and more exaggerated as the years went along. And by 1957, fins had grown quite large. Larger still in '58. And by 1959, Cadillac tail fins had become quite huge. 1959 and 1960 Chevrolet models also sported exaggerated tail fins. During this period, tail fins were copied by all the major car makers, but they had mostly faded out by 1961 or 1962. The jet age had passed, and the rocket age had arrived. Taillights took on the look of rocket thrusters. The '61 Chevy was completely restyled with a more boxy look. This was the year of the bubble top. It was also the first year of the SS model, although these are extremely rare today. Here's a '61 bubble top with a rare factory 348 with 3 deuces and factory 4-speed. Back in 1933, Plymouth captured 1/4 of the new car market. In 1934, Plymouth offered more upgrades than competitors in the low-price field, including independent front suspension and hydraulic brakes. By the end of 1934, 320,000 Plymouths had been built. That's an incredible story. And by the way, the ship hood ornament is the Mayflower, as in Plymouth Rock Mayflower. Plymouth made the Barracuda from 1964 to 1974. Bob's first-generation '65 Plymouth Valiant Barracuda features a wraparound fastback rear window. The second-generation '67 to '69 Barracuda, though still Valiant-based, was heavily redesigned. Second-generation A-body cars were available in fastback, notchback, and convertible versions. The name Polara is in reference to the Polaris star, in a marketing attempt to appeal to the excitement surrounding the space age during the early 1960s. The Polara was a mid-size car and kept the name until 1973. The Dodge 330 was made from 1962 to 1964 and available with a 426 engine. 1960 marked the first year that all Chrysler models except the Imperial used unibody construction. The first Dodge Chargers were a mid-size B-body 2-door car built from 1966 to 1978. Chargers are still in production today, although they've gone through many changes. The Rio Motor Car Company produced automobiles and trucks from 1905 to 1975. Named after Ransom Eli Olds, his company turned out this 1934 Rio. This was the year that Olds would resign from the flagging company. Rio would stop making cars altogether after 1935 to concentrate on truck production. You know, there's so much car information out there, and the internet is a great place to start. I hope you found this interesting. So long for now. Stay warm, stay well, and come spring, we'll see you at the car shows and cruise nights.